Hey guys, it's Senzu here, and I'm with a special guest today.
What's going on, guys? It's UnrealEntGaming here, and I have to say first and foremost, thank you so much for having me, and I am looking forward to this discussion, my friend.
So we're going to do a Q&A quickly. Thanks for hitting 700 subscribers.
Well,
Thank you,
I mean,
guys.
first of all, I have to say thank you so much for being one of the best modders in the community, because I think that most people, they don't appreciate what a modder does, and I got to know you a little personally, so I got to see firsthand just how fast you are and just how precise you are with mods. So I wanted to say two things. Congratulations for hitting 700. I know you're bound to grow more because I think by showcasing your mods, you're bound to grow leaps and bounds. And I have to say thank you so much for the work that you do for the community, not just for myself, but for other Dragon Ball YouTubers to be playing these mods and reviewing them. Some people do have harsh criticism for mods, other people love them, but overall I just have to say thank you so much for just providing us with such content. Even when Xenoverse is like down and out, like you alongside some others are one of the few people that give us like entertaining content to play off of it and review and stuff. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Alex, and I don't plan on quitting anytime soon.
I hope not.
I'm watching a Dragon Ball Fighters.
What are your thoughts on that? Like, are you looking forward to that or no?
Well, the fact that it's using models means it's going to be a lot easier to mod
Oh, of
than
course.
a sprite-based game.
It feels like a Mugen game either way, but I'm looking forward to it. I just don't agree with people having to crap all over the game so early because the game isn't even out or even showcased much of it at all. All we saw was like the alpha stage of the game, so I think there's more to look forward to as well.
Importing Xenoverse 2 models into the game.
Oh, that's gonna be legendary, bro. I cannot wait for that. I cannot wait to see what you're gonna be cooking up.
Well, I'm going to probably start with Raikon.
Imagine? Oh man, I'll crap my pants. But nonetheless, let's go on ahead and begin with the Q&A session with the very first question for you, and being, why did you want to start making YouTube videos?
Well, I wanted to make YouTube videos because, well, I saw other channels such as yourself displaying mods and other games. And I thought, well, I'm making these mods, so why not showcase them myself? Which led to me creating my original channel back in April 2016. But that one died due to inactivity.
Alright.
Which led to me creating mine now.
Now, I also wanted to ask you, speaking of your old channel, when was it that you started this YouTube channel?
My current channel, well, July this year. Well, last year, sorry.
So
and it was after I got back from a holiday.
So it's still a relatively new channel. Now, I wanted to ask you, when did you actually started beginning to mod?
Well, it was a similar time as when I made my old channel. I actually made my first video on my first channel on the day I started modding.
And what inspired you to actually get into the mod community in terms of like modding characters and stuff?
Well, what inspired me is playing Xenoverse 2. I hated the fact that the Arcosian or Frost Demon race had purple auras, because I wanted mine to have a more fitting aura, as it did not fit the character design. So I was trying to change the aura files, but of course I couldn't. But in doing so, I changed Goku Super Saiyan Blue aura to, I believe, Super Saiyan God, which started me messing with all of the character files, see what I could do.
So you ultimately got inspired based on the auras because you wanted to just change the auras.
Yeah.
That's actually a little inspirational, because I remember back when I first came across mods, I've always wondered for many years, like, what if this happened and what if that happened? And ironically enough, I came across Budokai Tenkaichi 3 and seeing people mod on there, so I often wondered, imagine if this would happen in Xenoverse, and then here comes along you and many others, and you just created some really amazing mods. Even just recently, you created Goku with the Hakai, you created Super Saiyan Blue Trunks and all sorts of, Ozarus and whatnot. And I have to say, it's just amazing. Now, speaking of mods, are you going to be posting any of your mods on your Patreon?
Not so far. I want to make all my mods accessible, so I'm not really posting exclusive Patreon mods.
So it's going to be like free to play, you can just download wherever you post the link, and that's that, right?
Yeah, Patreon's more to just support me personally, not to purchase my mods.
Right. And I think you guys ought to, go on ahead and support his Patreon, because, as I said before, it's not easy to mod. I myself would not know anything about modding, so having Senzu constantly just create mods for the community, I think that he deserves a little bit of support from you guys in that respect, because you'll just never really know how far he can go when he gets inspired, or just enough support comes his way to where he can create more. Now, in pertains to that, I wanted to ask you, like, what are some of the mods that you plan on working on next?
Well, this is a bit of a spoiler, but Great Ape Raditz is one I want to work on.
Okay.
But do it properly. Have the long hair, everything. Quite like Raikon with his hair.
Yes, he looks amazing. And speaking of that, I wanted to also ask you, are you going to be touching up on possibly doing, because this is one of the only mods that have not been created, and me and you have spoke off camera about this. What are your thoughts on possibly being the first person to create the Omni King, or even perhaps maybe the other gods of destruction such as Licor and Ramoosh? Because in the community we have Beerus Champa, we have Vermouth and Sidra, and alongside, I do think we have the female god of destruction as well, Jerez. But in terms of like the other gods like Ivan and Moscow, do you think it's possible that you will also create the other gods of destructions as well, alongside possibly the Omni King, and being the first person to replicate that?
Well, I don't think I'm going to make the gods of destruction, simply because of how many there are, and it's quite oversaturated right now with god of destruction mobs.
Right.
But when it comes to Zeno or the Omni King, I do plan on making him. But the thing is, every time I tried, I messed up. So it's going to be quite a long process of doing so, due to the fact that there's no model in the game which I can really use as a base.
Especially with his like elongated head. I think that a basis you can use like Kid Gohan because he's small, but like having to create something to where he just looks structurally different, it's going to be a little difficult. But I was just wondering, is because upon request I asked you for a few mods and you got them done so fast, which is why I'm curious on the Omni King, because I've never seen anyone do it, and having to look at your model, it seemed as if you were going to be the first person to do that. So I really hope that you are, because I can see you having to mold Zeno and, you know, having him become a very credible character in the community, as I think you were the first one to also do God Broly, and you did him as good as you could. And we know that God Broly is gonna have his own movie in Japan debuting this year, so having to see you create God Broly was pretty cool as well. But I also wanted to ask you like a personal question, and that being, what are your 3 favorite Dragon Ball characters in the franchise?
Well, right now I've got to say my first would be Piccolo. He was my favorite since early Dragon Ball.
Right.
Where, well, he was the first serious villain, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, King Piccolo, yeah.
Yeah. And then seeing Piccolo Jr., was it Med Jr. when he first appeared?
I think it was, yes.
Yeah. Seeing him and how he represented the old evil King Piccolo but had his own characteristics was very interesting for me. And then
yeah,
I'd actually say
it was the first of its kind back when Dragon Ball first released.
Yeah, then I'd probably actually say Goku Black slash Zamasu.
Yeah.
Or Zamasu, just because how much of a compelling villain he is. And then third, I would say Perfect Cell, just because of the Cell games arc in general.
I mean, it makes sense, because I think that for originality, of course, it goes back to Piccolo, because Piccolo was one of the starting points for Dragon Ball. So I have to say it's very interesting, because most people would vote for Goku or Vegeta or Frieza or stuff like that, but having to choose Piccolo I think is very different, especially him being number 1. But I also wanted to ask you something you know, that pertains to that. So what are your top 3 favorite sagas or arcs in the entirety of Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, even if you want to count GT and Dragon Ball Super? 3 of your favorite arcs.
I start off with the Artificial Human slash Cell games arc.
Okay.
Just because, well, the introduction of Future Trunks and time travel, that was quite a compelling story point, and how hopeless it made the main characters feel.
Yes.
Especially with the Super Saiyan 2 transformation. Have you seen the Dragon Ball Symphonic Adventure?
Actually, I know I have not.
I'll send it you after this, but the way they portrayed the Super Saiyan 2 transformation, they're using Nai no Hai, the Japanese theme.
Right.
It's just amazing. I think it's probably the best scene in the series, and probably the best point for me. And after that, I would put the Future Trunks slash Goku Black arc, just because, well, Goku Black, really. But
I mean, yeah,
the manga adaptation...
Need you say more about that?
Well, yeah. I think the manga adaptation is actually better, though.
Of course, I mean, the manga, I mean, originally, we all assumed it was going to end many months ago, but even right now, it tells, I think, a little bit of a better story, even though I think we can agree that Merge Zamasu is kind of a broken character in the respect to where he can do everything. He can regenerate like Boo, he can replicate himself, he can do all sorts of stuff, but I agree with you. I think that the Future Trunks slash Black arc is one of the, you know, favorites in the community for many different reasons, of course.
Yes, and then my third, which is probably quite controversial, is the original Pilaf arc. just because of how it introduces all the characters and how it builds on relations between Goku, Oolong, Bulma, even Yamcha's involved.
Yeah, that was when Goku first became an Ozaru.
Yeah, it's quite a good scene.
That is actually one of the most interesting answers I think I've ever heard, because, as I said before, many people will say other things like Universe 6 arc or the Kid Buu arc or even Frieza being synonymous with the Namek arc, because that was pretty long and pretty hefty in terms of content. But having to go back to Pilaf and the gang, I think, is just something to where not many people actually watched Dragon Ball. They've watched Dragon Ball Z and Super and GT and stuff, but never dived into Dragon Ball because they felt as if, it wasn't really worth their time, or maybe perhaps it didn't have that many fights. But as you said, it introduces character development for Bulma, Yamcha, Pilaf, and Goku having to be a kid having to transform into an Ozaru and stuff. So I think that definitely is a very unique answer in and of its own right. But I also wanted to ask you, if you can collab with any other YouTuber on the platform, being big or small, on this site, who would it be and why?
Well, not meaning to flatter you, but, well, you. Just because I've been watching you since 2014, and, well, you're one of the main YouTubers who introduced me to Dragon Ball gaming.
Thank you for that, man. Like, I am flattered. I am flattered by that. It really means a lot to me. But let's just exclude me for a second. Aside from me, right, looking at the entirety of the platform, who else, from big to small, from mega YouTuber to, starting up YouTuber, who would you choose and why? Because, I was also inspired myself back in the day when I first started my channel. I watched a channel called Syndicate Project. I watched people like Ray William Johnson and whatnot, and I came up through that, and that inspired me to formulate and create a YouTube channel to continue. So I'm very flattered and honored that you would say me, because having to, in this community, I feel as if friendship goes a long way, and having to be a community where we all love the same franchise, we all watch the same franchise, having to talk to you about Dragon Ball, I think, is just good enough for me, because we're all fans at the end of the day. But if you had to choose any other, whether it be a Dragon Ball tuber or someone else, possibly even PewDiePie or whatnot, who would you choose aside from that respect?
Then I'd say JRZ Sane.
Oh, Rudy. Why him?
Well, as I do like Dragon Ball fighting games, and him being the previous #1 in Xenoverse, I thought it'd be interesting to battle him, especially if mods were involved.
Oh, that would be good.
Just imagine him playing with Gogeta. I think that'd be a nightmare.
I know he loves Bardock, so if there was a chance for him to use a modded version of Bardock, I think he would definitely bring it. But I think we can make that happen, because I speak to Mr. JR almost on a daily basis, so who knows, maybe we might get a Senzu versus JR battle on this channel, maybe?
Maybe.
Hopefully.
We'll have to see.
And my final question to you is, what could we as the fans expect from you on this channel in the future, in the coming months, in the coming years? What are your goals, and what do you hope to achieve in personal gains for this channel? And if you can provide us with some insights as to what you plan on doing in terms of content, or just an overall basis as to what you plan having on this channel in the future, what would be your best answer for that?
Well, in terms of goals, I'm trying to get the famous 9001.
Oh, okay.
It's over 9,000. I'm not really that bothered by raw subscribers, because I do like to interact with you as a community, but I just think it'd be quite fun to have that number. And in terms of content, I'm actually going to try and expand into Dragon Ball discussion and power leveling, as I find power scaling power levels quite interesting, and I have quite a few lists for them. And
absolutely.
Well, in terms of what I'm going to create modding wise, I'm thinking of more giant characters, because they went down a blast, and also more super based characters and fusions.
That's going to be amazing, especially with now we have Xeno Gogeta, and we have so many other characters dropping in Heroes and Fusions and stuff. Hopefully we get to see more of that. I do want to say thank you so much for having me on your channel, and thank you so much for talking to me and just getting this little brief Q&A session going. As I said before, guys, please support ItzSenzu. Let's try to get this man to break 1,000 subscribers, hopefully enough by the end of July, because July is coming, so let's see if we can break that goal. I think it's possible, and hopefully enough from you, we get to see more content from you, more mod reviews. Even if so, maybe you can even possibly give us more of an in-depth review review on some of your favorite mods and the mods that you created on your channel, possibly giving us like a top 10 of your favorites and whatnot. So thank you so much for having me, Mr. Senzu, and is there any final words you want to say before we get going out of here?
Well, actually, I got one question for you.
Oh, okay.
If you could have any version of Rykon, any age, any form, what would it be and why?
Ooh, damn, that's a good question. Well, my the primary character for Rykon that I'm starring in the manga with is going to be Super Saiyan 4, because once he comes across learning about what God Ki is, and once he tries to establish that, the reason why Rykon looks the way he looks is because his Super Saiyan Blue form isn't just Super Saiyan Blue. With him having to be with the Akimian people, having to be a very superior race scientifically, and just, you know, being able to be a Type 5 civilization, they try to help Rykon understand what God Ki is, and thus when he attempts to transform and transcend even further into that, there's a mutation that occurs to where Super Saiyan 4 is combined with Super Saiyan Blue. So that's going to start later on down the road, but right now, if I had to pick, I would say just Super Saiyan 4 Rykon for now, because there's still so much that I want to build with that character, especially in the manga, that I'm going to be working on in the future. And I think that just for now, because there is no need for him to tap into base form, or well, not base form, but Super Saiyan form, or Super Saiyan 2 form, or Super Saiyan 3, because what's the point of you jumping into an inferior form when you have a superior form that trumps all of them? So I would have to say Super Saiyan 4 Rykon for now.
Yeah. And what about an alternative costume?
See, that would work. I would love to see him wear something like a little different, like possibly even like I would say like Merge Zamasu's clothing, because I feel like Merge Zamasu has like a very unique set of clothing, or maybe even blacks, because I can just envision him having to wear like the Potaras and whatnot, and having to, you know, have a story to where Zamasu took Rykon's body or something like that. But I wouldn't mind seeing alternate costumes, because ultimately enough, I think it can tell a very interesting story.
And who do you think Rykon would fuse with in Dragon Ball if you had to fuse with somebody?
Oh man, that's a good question. Damn, considering that he doesn't like his own kind because he feels like they were cowards for not standing up to Frieza during the time of Judgment, and it kind of makes sense, because if you had brothers in your house and you watched your house burn down and your brothers left you all by yourself, how would you feel? You know, so I think that it probably would not be a Saiyan, because I don't see him getting along with his own people at all, whether it be Goku and or Vegeta or others. But I would say if I had to pick somebody with him, I would probably have Rykon fuse with either Merge Zamasu, because I think that would be a very interesting concept to see how they would turn out, or even possibly even Golden Frieza, and seeing how that would turn out. I mean, I at this point in the mod community, I would love for him to fuse with anybody. But realistically, if I had to compare that to what I'm working on, I would say that he would probably fuse with somebody who is not a Saiyan, just because he doesn't like his own people.
Yeah. Well, thank you for talking, Alex. It's been a pleasure.
No, it's been an honor. Thank you so much, and I really hope that, you know, we get to see you grow in the community. And thank you so much for sharing an insight. Hopefully enough, we'll be back with another Q&A soon. And if of course you plan on having one, maybe if you break 800, 900, we can do a Q&A, and we can talk more in depth. And if you guys have any questions for Mr. Senzu here, drop your questions in the comment section below for him. So any final words before we go, bro?
Just thank you, and thank you all for helping me reach this far. In my Discord, there's a room for Q&As, and I'm planning on doing more answers in live streams coming soon. So if that's how you want to end it, bye, and thank you for watching.